gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's December the 15th, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again this morning by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss a lot of news of the day. Presented this morning by Caneswear, your number one destination for all your Miami Hurricanes merchandise needs. Caneswear has it all. You can shop them at their store in Davie or at caneswear.com. We'll talk a little bit more about Caneswear later. But Matt, we got to get right to this news of the day because it's hopping as it should be. The final recruiting weekend of this cycle, the fog of war is upon us. Many kids are flipping, some to Miami, some away from Miami. Kavion Broussard is one that did not show up for his official visit to the Hurricanes this weekend, despite being committed for months. He's at Ole Miss this weekend. Probably will not be in the signing class. But Miami's supposed to be picking up potentially Armando Blunt, the Miami Central defensive lineman who had been committed to Florida State, who, like Kavion Broussard, he decided instead of going to Florida State this weekend to come to Miami. And everybody in Tallahassee is pretty much accepting he will not be going there. And it looks like he will be flipping to Miami by the end of the weekend. So keep your eyes open for that. But the guy that everybody wants to know about, Matt, because he's a quarterback and Miami's very much in the mix for the guy that's universally considered the top quarterback in the country. That is Cam Ward from Washington State. He visited the Hurricanes a couple days ago. He is presently in Tallahassee visiting Florida State. If he goes to college, it looks like a Miami-Florida State battle, although his dad did tell us that not out of the question that at least one other school could enter the mix by the end of the weekend or early next week, and that they are also considering the National Football League. So, Matt, right now, if we're honest, Cam Ward has Miami hostage and has all the leverage, all the power, but I don't know how long that lasts because they're talking about making a decision a few weeks from now. And I don't know if Miami's going to want to wait that long. You spoke to the Ward camp in the last 24 hours. Your thoughts just on the whole Cam Ward situation?
I mean, look, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we found out his first name was actually Camera or Cameo or whatever, because this is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is the transfer portal era at its finest, and it's like somehow you have to figure out what it all means. It's almost like one of those puzzles. Like how did Egypt build the pyramids? When they had no technology. I don't know. Like I don't understand this any more than I understand how the Egyptians built the pyramids. And I'll just sort of share what happened. Cameo Ward, his visit wrapped up at Miami, and I reached out to his dad that evening because I was planning to run a story yesterday morning, which I did run with a couple of Cam's former high school coaches, and there was some stuff that the coaches weren't, the recollection. Remember, this was 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago that he was in high school. They were a little fuzzy on a few things. So I said that, I texted Cam's dad like, hey, I'm running a story tomorrow and wanted to just make sure of some of the facts with you or whatever, because we had already just interviewed Cam. I didn't really need the dad to say the same stuff over again. And so the dad said, you know what, we're on our way back home and then we're going to Florida State tomorrow. Why they went home and then went to Florida State, that's its own mystery to me.
When you can spend another day in Miami and hit time 112 the second night in a row.
Yeah,
why would you
fly direct from Miami to Tallahassee?
Yeah.
Or I know. Do they have direct flights? Yeah, they have direct flights, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it. And then they had to do a stopover anyway. People are like, they flew on Florida State's private jet. Like, no, they did not. They flew commercial out of Hobby Airport through Atlanta to Tallahassee. Okay, yesterday. It's fun flight if you enjoy being in the air and airports a lot. So anyway, So the dad says, I'll talk to you from Hobby Airport, whatever. No problem. Then he texts me, you know what, we're late. You know, I'll the stopover is too short. You know, I'll try to call you from whatever, from Tallahassee. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, I didn't really expect to hear from him. I've been doing this long enough that, you know, when you have an interview time set and they're like, I'm in a rush, I can't do it, you know, you don't tend to hear from them. Like Savion Riley yesterday off his official visit, you know, he said, oh, yeah, I'm going to call you when I'm done, whatever. I texted him. He's like, I'm in a rush, you know, I'm trying to get to the airport. My flight's, you know, I'm late for my flight, whatever. I'm like, you know, good luck, you know, good luck at Miami International Airport. Enjoy the mile-long run. You know, if you make it in 4.4 seconds, then you might make your flight. But so that was the end of Savion. But anyway, that's typical. So the dad actually called me last night. He calls me, which is great, you know, because it doesn't happen that frequently. And he is the nicest guy. Let me tell you that first off. Really nice family. And I talked to a couple of the coaches. They could not speak highly enough of the family. And it's not the family's fault that NIL is what it is, that the transfer portal is what it is. I mean, anyone in their right mind will take advantage of it and do what's best for their child and their family. It makes perfect sense. That makes sense. So the dad proceeds to essentially tell me that Cam is 50-50 for going pro, which makes sense. I mean, he's projected probably as a top 3-round pick, maybe even higher, depending how he does it at a pro day, you know, at the combine, because he has all the NFL talent in the world, arm strength. You know, he's pretty good with accuracy. His deep ball's gotten better. He can run. He can do everything. So certainly that makes sense, okay? But it's the first we've sort of heard of this all of a sudden, right? Why is he, either you go pro or you don't. Like most college quarterbacks, either they are going pro or they're coming back not. I'll tell you around Christmas, which is what they've decided to do. They've set a date of around Christmas. They think that's when they'll hear from enough NFL people, I guess, communicating with their people that here's where we think Cam will probably go. And if he does really well in the combine, he'll probably go here, whatever. Here's the money there. Here's the money if he goes back to college, whatever. That's one plan. Okay, plan A. Plan B is he goes to college, and now he says Miami and Florida State. You know, he doesn't know because they haven't been to Florida State. They're starting the visit today, essentially. So, you know, I asked him, is Miami ahead going to the visit? Do you guys sort of take it as a 50-50 thing heading into the visit? And he sort of sidestepped the question. So I'm going to go ahead and say they said it's 50-50 to go to the NFL. It's 50-50 between Miami and Florida State, which would make it a 25% chance he goes to Miami, just mathematically. But now the dad also tells me that, by the way, you know, all these schools want him to visit on Sunday. And he said, we're not going to do that. They don't want to do that. But he says to me that that does not rule out or preclude him winding up somewhere other than Miami or Florida State, even though the dead period hits Sunday at midnight. He says Cam's been to enough places. Cam has done enough that he can do Zoom calls and just decide to go somewhere else. So now if you want to translate all this into ancient Egyptian, which is what I try to do, what I'm hearing or processing in my twisted brain is either this guy's seriously, you know, maybe this guy's either not coming to Miami, or this is a negotiating ploy to get as much money as possible from either Miami or Florida State, and it's down to those two. Now, I personally think that's what it is. I think he's going to play in college next year. I think it's a negotiating tactic to get as much money as possible, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's what this system does. That's what this system is. However, the Christmas date is a problem because I don't think Miami's going to be able to push Will Howard off that long. And there's only so long that you can do this thing until. And the dad actually mentioned the word Monday to me. He says he doesn't know if Miami can go past Monday, which to me, even though he threw it in passing, to me that means somewhere along the line somebody at Miami mentioned Monday to him. Like they want to know by Monday. That's what I'm gathering out of that. So I don't know how many bags of money can fit into Doak Campbell Stadium, but it's probably not going to be enough for what this family needs. And, I think Hard Rock Stadium can fit more money than Doak Campbell Stadium. I can't more bags of money fit into, I think Hard Rock's more square footage, right? So I'm going with the Hard Rock Stadium. Cam Ward will be a Miami Hurricane. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea what he's going to do. It's impossible to decipher the hieroglyphics that this family has thrown into my brain and that I'm trying to vociferously get out of my head now.
Sounds to me like a father who's doing a great job for his kid.
This guy should be in charge of the freaking economic. Forget the Fed. This guy should be in charge of the entire economy of the U.S. We'd all be like rich people. He'd be bargaining with every country to get us as much money as possible. The trade deal would be amazing.
I made some inquiries about his agents and whatever, and
forget the agents. Just use the dad.
That's exactly what I was told. Like in this case, don't worry about the agents. The dad is running the show.
Dad is a
And
genius. He's
and
a genius.
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, it's I don't know that it's great for Kane's connection, the Miami Collective. I mean, or the people that donate to Kane's connection, because if Miami's going to land Cam Ward, I think the price is going to be you know, a little bit up there. But look, it's worth it because he gives them a chance to be a special team next year. You know, you know, I don't know what's going to happen in the bowl game, but there's nothing that's going to happen in the bowl game where I'm going to be deceiving myself that you know, Jakari Brown is ready to be a top shelf college quarterback. I don't think Emory Williams is at that point in his development yet. Miami, you know, obviously Judd Anderson coming in as a true freshman is not going to be there. This is exactly what Miami needs. You know, they need a top of the line college quarterback with experience who can put up big numbers, who knows what he's doing out on the field, who's a smart kid. Cam Ward is everything that Miami needs right now. And they're just going to probably have to get out of their comfort zone a little bit from a budgetary standpoint if it's going to happen. And, you know, I don't know about these Christmas timelines and Monday deadlines and things like that. I'm not paying too much attention to any of that. I think that's all fluid. But this is really, really interesting. And we are going to do our best to stay on top of this over the next few days. And see, let's see how the visit to Florida State goes. You know, we should know more by Saturday night, Sunday, how that went. And we'll go from there. But this is one that is going to be right there in the middle of the fog of war, that affectionate time period that we've all come to love every year when recruiting just gets insane. And, you know, we will see what happens on that front. But so much more to talk about. Obviously, Miami's still trying to flip Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. We don't know what's going to happen there. But one thing that's going really, really well is it looks like Miami is going to get a second 5-star defensive lineman to go with Justin Scott. How about that? 2 5-star defensive linemen. That Mario Cristobal guy, man, he can get it done out on the recruiting trail. You know, a few weeks ago, it didn't look like they were getting any 5-star defensive linemen. Now it looks like they're going to have at least 2. And so, Matt, you know, Armando Blunt canceling Florida State this weekend, where he had been committed to spend the weekend at Miami. Obviously, a great sign. It's looking like they will get a commitment from him by the time the weekend is out. And I'm even hearing it's not out of the question that he could be at Miami as soon as Monday, practicing with the team through some quirkiness in the rules that if you finish your school, which he has, and you have financial aid papers, which he will, that you could actually go out on the field and work out with the team as they prepare for the bowl game. So all this is very interesting. We will see how that goes as well. Now, a piece of bad news that we have to report is Kavion Broussard, in Armando Blunt style. He did not show up for his Miami visit this weekend. Now, he's an offensive lineman from Louisiana. Canes love him. Very solid prospect. But Ole Miss has apparently convinced him to visit this weekend, which means Ole Miss is very much on the radar to get his commitment. So we are expecting by Sunday for Broussard to no longer be on the Miami commit list and probably to flip to Ole Miss. So keep an eye on that. That hurts. That stings a little bit. You always want to build on what you've already done on the offensive line. But make no mistake about it, this year's recruiting was centered around defensive line. Mario Cristobal, he is building this program from the inside out. Last year, they built up the O-line, big-time way in recruiting, and this year it's the defensive line. And so keep an eye on that Armando Blunt situation. You should see a commitment from him, we believe, by Sunday. All right, Matt, so this is the final recruiting weekend of visitors, and we believe there's about 11 or 12 that actually, I guess 12 that are presently on official visits this weekend. I talked about Armando Blunt. There's also 4-star running back Jordan Lyle. He's an Ohio State commit. We think he will flip to Miami here by the end of the weekend. 3-star cornerback Xavier Lewis from American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida. He is presently a Wisconsin commit. We think he is going to flip from Wisconsin to Miami this weekend. Other guys on the visit weekend, the receiver from Georgia, Nye Carr, he's a solid. Jojo Trader from Chaminade, he's solid. Zaquan Patterson from Chaminade, he's solid. JUCO offensive lineman Markel Bell, a guy that I think I'm not going to say he's going to be Bryant McKinney because he's not, but reminds me a lot of Bryant McKinney just with his 6'9" frame, how Bryant McKinney looked when he came to Miami. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do with Markel Bell. He's obviously committed. I'm wondering, do they rush him out to the field next year, or do they do what Miami did with Bryant McKinney, redshirt him for a year, develop him, build up his strength, and then he's an absolute monster for the last 2 years of his college career. So that one is interesting. Ryan Mack, the defensive back from Heritage, he is visiting this weekend, along with running back Chris Wheatley Humphrey, who we're expecting to be a cornerback at Miami. Defensive lineman Dalen Russell from Miami Columbus. 3-star edge Cole McConaughey, the guy that I think is the sleeper of this recruiting class. I think he's going to be a very good college football player. And offensive lineman Nino Francavilla is also visiting this weekend. Maybe they snuck a couple other guys in too this weekend, Matt, where we're kind of monitoring that and seeing what we can find out. But to sum all this up, this is the typical last weekend before signing day. A lot of just exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add, since I've been working the portal, Steven and Azubi deal with the real recruiting. I just do the fake recruiting. So obviously Savion Riley had a pretty good visit. So I think, Miami feels pretty good about him, but he's supposed to talk with me at some point today, assuming he's not still rushing around to airports. Ja'Cory Brooks, receiver from Bama, used to be a Miami target. I texted with the dad. So yeah, he's the dad confirmed that he is going to be visiting Miami on Saturday. They're at Louisville today. So I think if Miami really makes their point for him and how they'd use him for his last year, I think they'll get him. There's some question marks with him just because he only had one decent year, pretty good year, where he had 600 something yards at Alabama. And obviously that's a top offense. And so he hasn't been putting up tremendous numbers. He was hurt a lot this year, played in 9 games, had 3 catches. So, I don't know if he's definitely the answer, but, I can't see how he'd hurt adding him for 1 year. That's sort of my thing with portal guys who aren't free agents. And then Zach Carpenter, who I think is a borderline free agent, the center from Indiana, who also.
Sorry, I left him off. He's another one that's in this weekend.
Yeah. He's coming this weekend. I've been going back and forth talking to his mom, and super nice lady. So they're excited about the visit. I think Miami is going to be in a really good shape to get him off the visit. As long as it goes well, I would expect him to wind up at Miami. And there's a defensive tackle, Marley Cook, who's Middle Tennessee State. Fans, I'm sure, remember him for his tremendous sack. That was the only tackle against Miami in their upset win a year ago. But I think he's visiting. It might be unofficial, though. I don't think Miami has that many.
I think it's unofficial.
Yeah, unofficial. So, to be determined. People were saying, oh, he replaced Ohio State's official visit with the Miami unofficial visit. That doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. I mean, look, to me, he's probably more of a depth guy. Maybe a little better version of production-wise of a Thomas Gore. But like Gary says, you need those guys, right? Apparently. And then Will Howard, we've been calling him and his agent. I think that they changed their phone numbers because of me, but they have not been responding. And other than that, it's Cam Ward's the other main guy on our radar. And obviously, we talked to his dad yesterday and did the update. So I think that's most of the portal news. But there's going to be some other names that are coming up that Miami's looking at. Remember, the portal window is 30 days, and then after that, it doesn't matter. You can grab guys whenever. As long as they've been in the portal, they don't have to be committed to your school or enroll at your school at any particular date. They could enroll in the spring, in the fall, as long as they're in the portal at some point during that window. So I don't know. I think that's pretty much the portal summary for now.
All right, we got a few other things that we'll talk about this morning, but I do want to take a moment here and talk about CaneSport because it's holiday shopping season, and CaneSport is the largest Miami Hurricane store ever created, and they have everything you could possibly need for the holidays. So let me start out by letting you guys take a look at the new CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
Yeah, and like, it doesn't matter. Maybe you have a wife to show, or girlfriend to shop for, a friend, a coworker, kids, even your pet. You know, you can't leave your pet out when everyone's sitting around the Christmas tree or the Hanukkah bush, or, you know, whatever holiday you celebrate, and exchanging gifts and stuff. You know, you can't leave your dog sitting there empty-handed, all pissed off. Okay, so CaneSport has something for everybody: t-shirts, jerseys, polo, hoodies, hats, flags, decals, magnets. They have sizes for men, women, kids, babies, and like I said, pets of all sizes. So get on over to CaneSport if you live locally. If you don't live locally, go to caneswear.com. Load up on stocking stuffers, major gift items for the Canes fan in your life. Like I said, friend, family, coworker, and make it a great holiday season for them with some really good looking Cane stuff. And they have all kinds of it at CaneSport. So they're at 2655 South Union Drive in Davie. If you like to eat big fat subs, they're right next door to La Spada's, which is a great sub shop. God, I know I'm giving La Spada, Matt, all kinds of free advertising this year, but it's a draw, man, for CaneSport to be right next to La Spada's, because you can go load up on your shopping, burn a lot of calories walking around CaneSport, and then you can replenish them by going and getting these big fat monster subs next door. So 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or go to caneswear.com, where obviously you can shop 24/7, 365. All right, so let's see, Matt. More recruiting stuff that might interest people. Let's see. We have a story on the website today with tight end commit Elijah Lofton. And this is a guy that, you know, he's from Vegas, so nobody here really knows that much about him. But I know the coaches, when they were recruiting him, like, they made it very clear to Elijah Lofton they think he could be a phenomenal player in college football. And real sleeper playmaker. He could be an H-back. He could be a tight end. But anyway, we catch up with him, and the one thought that he with was he wants Jeremiah Smith as a teammate. So I imagine that Elijah Lofton will be helping Miami coaches try to flip Jeremiah Smith here this weekend. And we're going to do our best to track that. That's not going to be the easiest one in the world, but we are grinding on all fronts this weekend at CaneSport.com. The focus is 2024 recruiting, but we're expecting a 2025 commitment this weekend from four-star linebacker Elijah Melendez. So we will be watching that. He is visiting the Canes, and just a really, really good prospect for 2025. He's from Kissimmee, Osceola. He's a four-star, and Miami has told him that they think that he is going to be the best linebacker in the country next year. So this is would be a great early pickup for Miami to pick up a commitment this weekend from Melendez and continue to add to a head start on the 2025 class. And beyond that, I think that let me just double check, but I think we've pretty much covered the key points here for for this weekend. Like I said, all these official visits going on. We will be on the case all weekend. The Miami basketball team has a game Saturday against LaSalle, trying to get back on track. We will be out there. So stay tuned all weekend long to CaneSport.com, and we will try to make sure that you are covered. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport, great time to do so. Right now, we are going to be having a signing day special here for the next week. Well, a little less than a week, I guess. But you can get an annual subscription for 50% off. You can get your first month for $1. Please, your subscriptions allow our entire team to do what we do every single day to try to enhance your fan experience. So if you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport, now is a great time to join us. We do not think you will be sorry. We will be doing everything we can do to make you feel great about that. If you're on YouTube right now, hit your subscribe and like buttons. It helps us with the algorithms in growing our audience. So beyond that, Matt, any parting thoughts?
No.
No, I want to go back to bed.
I'm ready for Wednesday. I'm ready for Wednesday.
Oh, there's that damn
Let's get Wednesday already. It's green for the Hurricanes. That's Hurricanes green.
Oh, I hate the like. Do you ever wash that shirt ever? Like,
it's a crocodile.
You wear it on the show almost daily.
Yeah, it's not an alligator. It's a crocodile.
Is that your like pajamas? Like you sleep in the crocodile shirt, or is that why you're always wearing it at 5 a.m. every morning?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, all right. So from that alligator Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for starting your day with us this morning. See you next time, everybody.